My journey in 2025 to finding purpose and fulfillment. Introduction. A new chapter begins. The beginning of 2025 didn't feel like a fresh start. It felt like another page in a book I wasn't excited to read. I had goals. I had responsibilities. I even had achievements to show for myself. But something was missing: a sense of direction, meaning, and inner peace. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't fulfilled either. I was existing, not truly living. Somewhere between routine and survival, I had lost touch with the deeper reason for why I do what I do. That's when I made a decision, not a resolution, but a commitment to rediscover purpose and create a life of fulfillment. This is the story of that journey, a personal reflection on growth, healing, clarity, and awakening in 2025. Part E. Realizing I was living on purpose. The wake-up call. It didn't come through a dramatic life event. It was quiet. Subtle. A lingering question that wouldn't go away. Is this all there is? I had a decent job, a small but supportive circle, and a list of things I was supposed to want. But I was tired. Not physically, but emotionally. Tired of drifting, pleasing, chasing, and performing. I felt disconnected from my work, my relationships, and most of all myself. I began journaling. At first, it felt awkward. But writing revealed something I had ignored for years. I had been living based on expectations, not inspiration. That realization hit me like lightning. I had been saying yes to things that didn't align with my soul. That's when I knew I couldn't keep doing life the same way. Part 2. Pausing to reflect, reset, and reconnect. Giving myself permission to pause. I took a weekend off, alone. No work. No social media. Just me, nature, and a notebook. I walked. I reflected. I asked myself questions that had been buried under busyness. What do I care about? What gives me energy, not just money? When do I feel most alive? What do I want to be remembered for? For the first time in a long time, I listened to my heart. And the answers were quietly waiting for me. You want to help. You want to create. You want to lead with love. You want to live with impact, not just income. Something shifted in me. I didn't have it all figured out, but I was no longer numb. I felt curious, open, and willing to explore. That was enough to begin. Part 3. Exploring my values and calling. The inner compass. Back home, I started doing deep work. I read books on purpose, listened to inspiring podcasts, and followed thought leaders who spoke about fulfillment, not just success. But most importantly, I began to define my personal values. I asked myself, what values do I want to guide my life? What non-negotiables am I no longer willing to compromise? What does success mean to me? I came up with a short list. Authenticity, compassion, growth, creativity, and freedom. From then on, these became my inner compass. I started saying no to what didn't align, yes to what did. Part 4. Reconnecting with what I love. Rediscovering forgotten passions. It's strange how we forget what we love when we get busy trying to survive. I realized I hadn't painted in years. I hadn't written for joy since college. I hadn't volunteered or mentored anyone, even though I loved doing it in the past. So I started small. I painted on weekends. I wrote reflective essays like this one. I joined a local mentorship group and started guiding younger professionals. These things didn't pay me, but they fed my soul. They reminded me that fulfillment isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Part 5. Finding fulfillment in everyday moments. The beauty in the ordinary. What surprised me most in 2025 was how purpose didn't only come from big revelations. It came from everyday mindfulness, being present, noticing beauty, and expressing gratitude. Fulfillment began showing up in morning sunrises and quiet coffee, Deep, unhurried conversations. Finishing a book that changed my mindset. Helping a friend through a tough time. Choosing rest without guilt. I began to experience joy without needing a reason. I stopped chasing highs and started embracing the now. Part 6. Letting go of what no longer served me. Releasing old stories. To move forward, I had to let go of beliefs, habits, and relationships that no longer fit the person I was becoming. I let go of the need to prove myself. Toxic comparison and perfectionism. Friendships that drained me. Guilt over past decisions. The pressure to be constantly productive. Letting go was painful at times, but it was also freeing. Every time I released something that wasn't mine to carry, I felt more aligned, more at peace, more me. Part 7. Building a life that reflects my purpose. Taking aligned action. Clarity without action is just a dream. So I began to build new systems and set new goals not based on pressure, but based on purpose. Here's what that looked like. I restructured my work schedule to reflect my peak creative times. I created a soul goals list that included personal joy, not just professional tasks. I scheduled connection time, family calls, friend catch-ups, creative dates with myself. I invested in learning skills that aligned with my passions. I also started a passion project, a blog, to share lessons from my journey. To my surprise, people began responding. My story was helping others. Purpose turned into impact. Part 8. Finding fulfillment by serving others. Turning inward work into outward contribution. The deeper I went into my healing and growth, the more I wanted to share. Fulfillment became about giving, not just receiving. I began mentoring more intentionally. I shared my story in community circles. I led workshops on clarity and mindset. Not because I was an expert, but because I had lived it. Helping others didn't drain me, it energized me. It reminded me that the more we grow, the more we're meant to give. Fulfillment is never just about ourselves. It's about how we show up in the world and who we lift along the way. Part 9. Embracing progress, not perfection. A year of becoming. If I've learned anything in 2025, it's this. Fulfillment isn't a destination, it's a practice. I still have off days. I still question myself sometimes. But I no longer spiral. I return to my truth. I return to my breath. I return to gratitude. Every step, every stumble, every breakthrough has been part of the becoming. And the most fulfilling part. Knowing I am finally living life on purpose, with purpose. Conclusion. My purpose, my fulfillment, my future. Looking back on this year, I can honestly say I've grown more than I thought possible, not because I achieved everything I set out to do, but because I finally aligned with who I truly am. I've learned that purpose is discovered through curiosity, not pressure. Fulfillment is found in presence, not perfection. Joy multiplies when shared through service. Peace grows when you let go of what no longer fits. The answers you seek are already within you, just need to slow down and listen. 2025 was the year I stopped living on autopilot and started living with intention. I don't have it all figured out, and I no longer need to. Because now, I'm not chasing life, I'm co-creating it. And that, to me, is the most fulfilling thing of all.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.